Hey everyone, I am going to answer more parenting questions. So if you've got a question, you can text me. It's 402 256 0768, and I will answer your question live so that you can get the information that you need to be the best parent that you can be. Okay, so the first question is, hi, Dr. B. My 4-month-old baby is waking up multiple times per night because she is moving around and bumping her head on the crib bars. I know bumpers are not safe. Can we use vertical liners, or do you have another suggestion for us? This is a great question, and parents often wonder about this, especially you've moved into their crib. I'm holding a wand. I tend to fidget, so I think this is a Harry Potter. Somebody can tell me maybe whose wand this is. This is not, I think this is Dumbledore's wand, actually. And so I'm just holding this wand so that I don't fidget. Parents often ask what to do because they've moved into the crib and the baby squirms and wiggles and hits their head on the crib rails, the crib sides, and they're worried that it's going to bother the baby. And so they want to know, can we do bumpers? Can we do vertical, like mesh things to protect baby? And what I'm going to tell you is, first and foremost, I have a free safe sleep workshop, and the link I'll put in the description below so that you can check that out if you're wondering, how do I make sure my baby sleeps safe? Because it might be news to you that bumpers are not really safe. Bumpers shouldn't go in cribs because, I mean, we had bumpers with our first baby, and it's like the cute thing that you get for your baby's crib, and it makes it, it just ties the whole scene together really nicely. But they can come loose. The baby can get stuck underneath them. They can pull one of the ends off and then get stuck, and it's just, there's just lots of ways that babies can get entangled within bumpers. And so I think it's best to just forget the bumpers. They do look cute, but they are not safe, and they're definitely not necessary. Now, what we know about babies is they care a lot less about where and how comfortable they sleep than we as parents think they do. I can tell you that your 4-month-old, in 2 years, you'll say, stay in your bed night-night, and you'll come back in the morning and they'll be asleep with their rump up on the floor with no pillow and be totally comfortable. And they won't wake up with like a crick in their neck or complaining all day about sleeping on the floor. Kids just don't experience the same level of discomfort as adults do when it comes to sleeping. So if baby moves himself over and positions himself with his head hitting the rails, do not worry about it. You don't need to move him. I would try not to wake him up, because if you move him, you risk waking him up and then having to go through that. I would just leave baby alone and recognize that baby will be totally fine. On the same topic, parents wonder what's the right humidity and the temperature and the amount of light. Babies do not care about any of those things. If your house is between 65 and 80 degrees, or I'll even say 60 and 80 degrees, your baby will be fine. You have to remember that 100 years ago, there was no such thing as central air. There could have been, I don't know. I'm just making it, there could have been central air 100 years ago. 200 years ago, there was not central air. There was not central heating. People warmed themselves by stove fire. It was dangerous, blah, blah, blah. The previous 10,000 years before that, there were no sources of keeping babies at this perfect 72 degrees at all times, and babies did just fine. Our ancestors slept in much more uncomfortable positions than we did, uncomfortable temperatures and humidities and all those things. So human beings are trained and capable of sleeping in uncomfortable environments. And I would just put your house at whatever comfort level lets you get the sleep that you need, whether it be 68 or 74. I don't know how anybody sleeps at 74 degrees. 68 or 67 or 66, or whatever it is where your comfort level is. Obviously, we like to sleep on the cooler side, and we have our fan on in our room year-round for us, my wife and I. But don't worry so much about the baby's comfort level. I'd focus more on safety. And you're totally right that you do not need bumpers. You do not need vertical liners. Just save your money, spend it on date night instead, and don't get anything for your baby's crib other than a flat sheet and a firm mattress, and that's all you need. So don't worry about it. Okay, The next question we're going to tackle, 14-month-old wakes up in panicked, blood-curdling screams after every far too short nap and about twice a week in the middle of the night. Will not go back to sleep for hours when it happens overnight. Thoughts/suggestions. So there's a lot of reasons that babies wake up. Sometimes it's like night terrors, which, the blood-curdling scream sounds terrific. Terrorful to me, and so I would imagine that that's what could be going on with your baby. Now, night terrors are those blood-curdling screams where they're like not responsive really. They're screaming, but they don't remember it in the morning. They're not disturbed by it, but it's disturbing to the parents, and those are normal and those pass with time. I can link to a video about night terrors that I did for my Mighty Sleepers course so that you can check that out. You don't have to be in the course or anything like that. You can just watch it to learn more about night terrors and how to handle those. But those are pretty normal, and I think most babies outgrow those quite quickly. Other blood-curdling scream reasons, well, they could just be trained to wake and scream when they wake up. Doesn't sound quite like that if it's just once in a while at night and not every single night. And some babies just kind of have these like disturbing abnormal screams when they're waking up and are quite perturbed by the act of waking up itself. I remember our now 4-year-old, when she was 3, she would definitely wake up and be in quite a bad mood, and it took a lot of Disney Plus to get her to calm down after nap time. And so sometimes what you could do is, if you find that that's the case, you can either help them wake up, like go in and wake them up a few minutes before they usually wake up, so that you have a little bit more control and you're there when they're waking up and everything like that. Or just, hold them and cuddle them afterwards, even if they're screaming and upset. So that's what I would do for these blood-curdling screams, but realize that it will probably pass sooner than you're expecting. Okay, the next question is just read your Facebook post and wanted to say, keep doing what you're doing, Dr. B, and keep pushing your agenda. Oh, thanks. I say prayers with my little one every night as she has her bottle, and will be praying for you and your family in this difficult time. Thank you. It's amazing how cruel and ignorant people can be about COVID. The politicalization is ridiculous. It's not an issue of abusing rights. It's a public health crisis. Keep fighting the good fight. Well, thank you. I will keep doing those things, and I appreciate you saying that. Another one here. Very pro-vaccine. As a healthcare professional, understand their importance, but have seen too many cases of GB directly linked to a specific preservative in influenza vaccine before the preservative was widely removed. I previously worked in a hospital rehab and LTAC unit where we gave preservative-free vaccine to err on the side of caution. I know GB, so GB is Guillain-Barré, is rare, but it scares me how quickly this vaccine is being pushed through. Also, is there anything in the vaccine that could potentially have long-term side effects? We know that some people infected with COVID have had long-lasting symptoms, effects, etc. How can we not expect something with the vaccine? Will the vaccine be attenuated or denatured? So many good questions to unpack and things to go through with this question. First and foremost, we're on the heels of this news about several different vaccines being quite effective. Moderna, Pfizer, AstraZeneca all have had information just in the past couple of weeks about how effective their vaccines are, which is great, which means that that there's a light at the end of this tunnel, like I said on a lot of my Instagram posts, that we can have hope that things will get better. But there's a lot of concern over the vaccines. One, we've never rolled out a vaccine this fast. 2, there's never been a mRNA vaccine before, which is what the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines are. And so people wonder, is it safe? Is it okay to take something that's been so newly created? So Guillain-Barré is a condition that has been associated with influenza vaccine and also with just getting influenza. And so Guillain-Barré is where you get this really scary ascending paralysis, meaning it starts lower in your lower limbs and it works your way up and you have some motor paralysis. Now, there's good therapies for it, but it is certainly scary and can take a long time for people to recover from. And so what we know is that in people that have had Guillain-Barré previously, that there's often the recommendation of them not getting specific flu vaccines because of the risk for repeat, which is extremely low as it is. The incidence of Guillain-Barré is less than 1 in a million, and so it's very like actual 1 in a million, not just saying 1 in a million. Is actually less than 1 in a million, and there's actually a higher chance of getting Guillain-Barré from the influenza infection if you were to get that than from vaccine. So everything that we do is a risk versus benefit. Now, we don't exactly know what all the components of the vaccine are. We know how the vaccines work, their mechanisms of action. Neither one is attenuated or denatured. The Pfizer and Moderna vaccines are actually mRNA vaccines. Basically, it's little pieces of RNA that enter the cell and start using the cell machinery to create the protein that your body will then react to create antibodies against coronavirus. It's not making coronavirus itself. It's not entering into the DNA. It's already in the RNA phase. If you remember way back to biology in high school, DNA, RNA, protein. So we've already passed the DNA stage. These are RNAs that enter the cell. They use your own cell machinery to make the spike protein from coronavirus, which then causes your body's immune system to react and make antibodies to the spike protein. There's no time that there's actually ever any coronavirus or anything like that. It's not attenuated. It's not denatured. It's a totally different vaccine platform than has ever been used before. And it actually has a lot of promise for a lot of other things that we've previously struggled to make vaccines before for. RSV, Epstein-Barr virus, cytomegalovirus. There were some other ones that I think they thought would be promising to use this platform for. But we've had some in the past that have caused a lot of morbidity and mortality, including RSV in preterm babies in pediatrics world, that can be possibly this vaccine platform could be used for them. So that's really exciting news. It's not like they just made this up. They just haven't had a good candidate until this came along, and so that's why it's new, and that's why we haven't used it before. So that's the Moderna and the Pfizer. The AstraZeneca vaccine is actually an adenovirus vaccine vector, and what they do there is they have adenovirus, which is a virus that is common, and it's a common cold virus, and that has some of the spike protein embedded in it in a way that your body reacts to it without getting adenovirus, without getting coronavirus, but causes your body to ramp up the immune system to make those. So those are the two that we have. We will learn more, and we'll have many more discussions about this in the coming weeks as to, is it safe, is it effective? Those are things that we're still in the process of learning. I can say that, there's been more than 100,000 people in the United States that have gotten these different vaccines in the trials, and so they're watching very closely for any safety issues, and it's expected that there aren't going to be big long-term side effects from it, mostly because those vaccine products don't last forever in your body. They wear off. They just like if you take any medicine, like the medicine doesn't linger for years and years, and so the thought is that those will degrade in the body. Your body will create the immune response that'll then be ready if coronavirus gets into your nasal mucosa, respiratory tract, whatever, that'll be ready, but it's not like the vaccine itself will still be there. So the thought is that there is unlikely to be long-term side effects that aren't surveilled and seen with the trials that are underway right now. More to come. Great question. Very reasonable to have a appropriate level of skepticism about anything new. But I do think that there's a lot of promise with these. Okay, like I said, I'm doing these questions to answer the questions. I love doing this. This is the way that I like interacting with the audience. If you have a question, drop me a text message. It's 402-256-0768. I will answer your question, and I'm going to keep going on these questions because I got a little bit more time tonight, and then we'll keep going from there. Oh, I'm a first-time stay-at-home mom to an amazing 17-month-old. We're starting the transition to one nap, and this schedule by nature leaves me with bigger blocks of awake time with her and less time to get things done that I used to during her naps, unloading the dishwasher, etc. She also doesn't do much independent playtime. She will be entertaining herself for 5 to 10 minutes here and there, but between COVID life and just being an only child right now, she's pretty much always around me. But that's a skill I probably need to start working on. What's an appropriate amount of time for kids to play on their own so that I can get a few things done during the day without having to scramble before she wakes up? Great question. So, what I'm hearing is this mom feels really good about all the time that she's getting to spend awake with her 17-month-old because she doesn't nap as much or she takes 2 naps and then sleeps at night. But when can we actually get the things of the day done? This is the perfect age to start working on self-directed play. Now, that doesn't mean you have to like put them in a room and expect them to stay there on their own for long periods of time. It also doesn't mean you have to sit and read books with your child all day long and just be at their beck and call and constantly curating every moment of their day for them. You don't have to do either of those. Somewhere in the middle is the right amount. What I would do is get her some age appropriate, simple toys that she can use to learn about her environment, to be curious, to figure out how things work, to bang pots and pans together, to play with the Tupperware. All those simple toys. It doesn't have to be sophisticated. It doesn't have to have batteries or buttons or lights or those sorts of things. Let her explore her world and see what there is to see. And what you can do is support that by being at arm's distance. Maybe you need to fold some laundry. Maybe you need to scroll Instagram on your phone or go to the bathroom or something like that. You can be out of arm's reach, but still in the general vicinity. And then what you can do is you can affirm when she's doing that and check in on her to make sure that she's doing okay. Wow, you are playing so nicely. Oh my gosh, look at you with those blocks. You're stacking those so high. Oh my goodness, listen to how loud that noise is when you bang that pot and pan together. That is so loud. Things like that where you're not on the floor doing it, but you're noticing and affirming it. I think that's the appropriate thing to do. And I think that you can have a reasonable expectation that you can get some of these things done with her playing on her own. Now, they do have a short attention span, and sometimes when I'm loading or unloading the dishwasher, like I gotta have like 3 different drawers worth of things to get Gloria to give me a chance to empty the dishwasher without her coming over. She has this knack, like, for reaching into the silverware and just pulling out the biggest knife she can find and holding it up, or scissors or something like that. And so it can take some finagling, and I promise you it's not going to be as fast as emptying the dishwasher while she's taking a nap. But I think that is very reasonable. And if you can integrate her into that, hey, while I'm emptying the dishwasher, I need you to sort this Tupperware. You just talk to her like she's older than she is and allow her to explore her environment, and you will make great progress with this, and it'll be so neat to see her exploring her environment. You can have the moments of cuddling, you can have the moments of reading stories, you can also have the moments of unloading the dishwasher, doing all the things that you need to do, taking a break and scrolling Instagram for a few minutes. You can do both of those without having to feel like I have to be on for my child at all times, and then when they're asleep, then I can get the stuff around the house done. Not feasible, not possible, not necessary. Oops. Okay, my last question for tonight. And like I said, text me, 402-256-0768. I love answering these questions. If you would leave a comment below, if you would click if you would click the thumbs up button so that other people see this and it gives me a little boost of affirmation that this is helpful. Comment below something that you've taken away from this, or comment below a question that you have, and I will do my best to answer those questions as well. The best way to get through to me is to text me, and if I don't, text me, and if I don't answer the first time, I created a little filter thing that if you type in "hey jerk," it will ding even louder for me so that I know this person is calling me a jerk because I didn't answer their question the first time. I don't mind. I don't take it personally. Okay. Next question. Tips for transitioning 1-year-old from bottle/formula to a sippy cup of milk or water. She refuses even a bottle of whole milk if it's not the exact temperature she likes. She loves water from a sippy cup, but still wants a bottle before every nap and before bedtime. Super common question. I talk about this at the 12-month visit with all patients and their parents, because the patients don't really care or listen, but the parents do. And bottom line is, 12-month-olds don't need bottles and they don't need formula. You can keep breastfeeding, nursing as long as you like, but you can just use up whatever formula you have left because you already paid for those calories. Don't buy any more. Do not buy toddler formula. It's totally a marketing scam that you do not need. And you can switch to water and whole milk for babies. I would offer milk at meal times, just like a sippy cup, whatever ounces a sippy cup has in it. at meal times of whole milk. And if she drinks it, great. If she doesn't drink it, great. Just put it back in the fridge and give it at the next meal. And then water in between. So throughout the day, if you want to have just a sippy cup of water laying around, that's perfectly fine for baby to kind of monitor and take care of her own hydration needs in between. You do not have to do a bottle at bedtime. You don't have to do a sippy cup of milk at bedtime. I would just do milk at meal times, water the rest of the day. Whole milk is fine. If you say we don't do cow's milk, they don't tolerate dairy well, we want to do something else, that's totally fine too. Almond milk. I don't typically tell people soy milk just because of like the issue of hormones, although I don't think that that's a huge thing. So if parents can't do anything else but soy milk, I don't think that that's a big deal. But almond milk, pea milk, I don't know, hemp milk, any of those would be fine. I would just stick with whatever's cheap. I wouldn't go crazy or think that you need to do something very sophisticated. Tips for so the actual question that this mom asked, I got off on a little milk rant there. Tips for transitioning a 1-year-old from the bottle to milk, and then refuses if it's not at the exact temperature. I will tell you, we have 5 kids and they are all super snobbery about having their bottles at a very specific temperature. And I don't know how we did it, because there's parents around there that just give their baby a cold milk. And comment below if your baby will just take room temperature or cold milk. We never did that. I think we just spoiled our children, and they would want ridiculously hot bottles where we would have to tell the sitter, like, yeah, that's pretty warm, but actually you just need to turn the knob a little bit further. Like, if it feels like you can't keep your hand under the faucet for more than 10 seconds, you're probably right at the right amount. Our kids loved like 104-degree bottles. And so I totally get that. The fastest way to do it is just cold turkey. Oh, no more bottles. Where did they go? I don't know. But here's a sippy cup. And you can make it easy. Like the sippy cup, they usually have like little regulators in them. Take out the regulator so that they quickly get the idea of, if I tip this back or if I suck on the straw, milk comes out. Like, that makes it easy for them to get the picture and get how it works. But they will stay hydrated. Even if you have to help them the first few times, like tipping the sippy cups, like, oh, they get it. And then you put their hands on it and then you kind of do that so that they get it. They will figure it out faster than you're expecting. Comment below if you've had any success with how to do this and how to make that transition, because a lot of parents worry that it's going to be really difficult, and then I talk them through it, and then they say, oh yeah, you're right, it took like 1 day and she was fine and we never done bottles again. Sometimes they'll slip it up if baby gets sick and go back to bottles. Not the end of the world, but it's not like on 12 months, 365.01 days you have to stop bottles. With Gloria, our baby, we went a little bit longer because we liked cuddling with her and giving her a bottle in the evening, and it was hard to give that up. So it's not an emergency thing that you have to do, but around 12 months, get rid of bottles, get rid of formula, just switch to whole milk at meal times, water the rest of the day. It will be fast and easy, and they will adjust much faster than you're expecting. Now, if you have a question, I have plenty of answers and plenty to say. Text me. It's 402 oops, let me just do this. If you have a question, text me. It's 402-256-0768. I will answer your question. In the meantime, keep up the good work. All right, thanks for watching. Now, before you go, if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss a future episode. And if you have a question that you want to ask that you'd like answered by me, you can just text me. It's 402-256-0768. Keep up the good work.